This is ex-Wallkill Bethelite here, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about being a tour guide at Wallkill Bethel. And I enjoyed being a tour guide. One of my favorite things was trying to be encouraging to people that would travel to come and visit Wallkill Bethel. If there were people from my congregation, I would always tell them, call me ahead of time. Call me ahead of time. Don't wait till the last second, so that I could make dinner arrangements and have them over for a meal. And I remember going through the training, which was important for me, to go through tour guide training, which consisted of going through the tour basically once, and that was pretty much the training. It was important for me to go through the training because I didn't work anywhere near the route that the tours went through. My entire day consisted of me being and shipping and receiving across the street from the main complex. Matter of fact, when they called me for tours and I'm at work, I would have to change, get freshened up, change, go all the way across the street to meet the tour in the main lobby, and then start the tour on the tour route. And the tour probably, I'm sure the tour, I'm not going to say probably, I'm sure the tour did not know that I'm walking them through areas, and hey, I don't see these areas that much more than you guys do, even though I live here. That's how busy I was at Bethel. I remember going through the tour route a couple times after work on a non-meeting night, after I got my studies done. It's pitch dark in some of these areas because it's the factory, some of the factory areas, and of course nobody's working there at that time. So it's pitch dark, and I'm going through the tour route, just trying to familiarize myself with it, because like any Bethelite, I want to do a good job. When tours come through, I want to be able to give them informal information and get them to really learn something when they come through on their tour. And the thing is that you're talking about some new printing presses, and these things are computerized, and they're not simple to explain in detail. I mean, of course, people can see, well, here's a big roll of paper, and the paper goes through here, and the magazines come out here. That's simple. People already know that. They want to know more detail, and they're going to ask a lot of questions. And they're asking me a lot of questions about something. Hey, I don't get to see it unless they call me for a tour. I've seen it working once when I went through the training. So I'm needing to really focus when I get my tours, because I'm using everything that I have as far as my little card that they give me to read information off of that, the little billboards, and I'm looking ahead and I'm trying to, okay, that's coming next. And I look ahead, okay, that's coming next. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. So I'm working really hard on giving good, encouraging tours. Well, what's the problem? Well, the problem was when you had really nice looking sisters in my tour group, and you had brothers kind of barging in on my tour to talk to them. I remember giving a tour, and it's by this great big picture of people invading Babylon. And there's something that you read about the picture and everything. While I'm trying to do that, there's some brother that, married brother, works in Bethel office, supposed to be working, but here he is going, of course, walking through the tour route. Not he could be, walking any number of hallways or whatever to get to where he wants to get to. But of course, he's always walking through the tour route where people are visiting. And he goes and he sits down next to the sister who's sitting down while I'm talking about this picture. And he's, talking to her, how's the tour going? And, like, why are you talking to her specifically? You could be addressing the whole tour, but you want to sit and talk to the single sister here. And you're married, and that's just something that I never understood. Because, number one, let's just put it out there. Number one, you're married. You're supposed to be busy working. You're not supposed to be trying to talk to single sisters that are walking through the tour route. I shouldn't have to say that because you're a witness, you're at Bethel, you should know that. The next problem I have is that if you're married at Bethel, more than likely you had your pick of sisters. Because if you're a Bethelite, there's so many sisters that want to come and serve at Bethel, want to come and be a Bethelite. And one of the main ways of doing that, if you don't have a special skill, like you're a nurse or something to that effect, or a dentist or something like that, if you don't have a special skill, the best way of being a Bethelite would be to marry a Bethelite. So you got brothers that had their pick of sister, picked one, married them. So why in the world do you need to flirt with sisters that are in my tour group? It doesn't make any sense at all. I understand when I walk a tour through Bethel and you got single guys kind of gawking because, that's just nature, I guess. And they're single and they're thinking, about getting married. So they're checking out the sisters on the tour. That's one thing. But for the married brothers that were flirting and almost just being so open about it, as if, hey, I could just, ditch my wife and just find me another young sister there that wants to come to Bethel. And because you got so many sisters that want to come to Bethel, I can just find me a nice young sister and get rid of my older wife. It's just crazy thinking, but I guess that's how it is when you're in a corporation like that. You just get accustomed to people just robotic type of thinking, where just people just don't seem to have the normal, loving, much less Christian love that humans should have for one another. So, of course, I never really confronted the brothers that were doing that. It was almost like they had it planned. They planned it. Like, I don't know if some brother called them, hey, there's some really nice looking sisters going through the tour, because every time I had a tour group with attractive sisters in that group, the brothers just popped up on the tour route with things to say to these sisters. Many times married brothers. And, how that, and the sisters don't know that these brothers are married. They don't know that. So I don't know if they're exchanging phone numbers or what it is that they're doing, because I'm focusing hard on the tour. I'm trying to give a good tour. And that, for me, took a lot of focus, because it was almost like giving a public talk with an outline that you weren't really familiar with. You're looking ahead to kind of get a good idea of what these things are, because outside of what's right there on that outline for you to look at when you have your tour, you kind of coming up with the rest of the information yourself, or things that you memorized when you went through your training. So that would always distract me when I'm trying to go, give a good tour, and you got people flirting with the sisters. That would always distract me, because I'm trying to give a tour and listen to the tour, the questions, but out of my other ear, I'm trying to figure out, what is this brother saying to this sister? Is he trying to get her phone number? What is he trying to do with this sister? Because you're married, so I don't understand, It's one thing if you know them from somewhere, but it obviously, if you don't know anyone in the group and you're only interested in talking to the attractive sisters, then, it's kind of obvious what your motives are. And another thing that, things like that would be discouraging, because, for me, looking at a Bethel elder, or looking at someone with a lot of seniority at Bethel, or with a really important job at Bethel, it seemed like they had everything. Here these people are, they've got everything, and they still don't conduct themselves in a Christian manner. It's like, well, it should be easy for you to conduct yourself in a Christian manner. I'm single. I'm the single brother. Being at Bethel for years, single, and having to control myself with this tour with attractive sisters in it, and you got married people with with jobs that are at least really interesting, that should keep your focus on other things. You're an elder in your congregation. Like, what else would you need to be able to stay focused? And you got a wife. So, it just doesn't make any sense. It's almost like you got people there that, aren't even Christian at all. Because there's just no excuse whatsoever for the things that they're doing. So, I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about that. Because I'm sure the sisters would particularly have an issue with that, because I hear so many times that there are more brothers than there are sisters, and that brothers kind of have their pick. Now, that could be true, that might not be true. I'm not 100% sure exactly the ratio between guys and girls as far as the organization is concerned. However, I do know that Bethelites kind of did have their pick to a degree, more so than your average Jehovah's Witness guy. They had their pick of sisters. And of course, that depends on your situation. Where your congregation was, did you have sisters in your congregation? Your home congregation, did you have sisters there? Because let's just say, for example, if you're a brother that came from a congregation, let's say your home congregation in Ohio didn't really have a lot of sisters there. You didn't know a whole lot of sisters. You come to Bethel, they assign you your congregation. Maybe it's an older congregation. There aren't many sisters there. You know, you don't really have an opportunity to meet anybody unless it's somebody that comes and visits Bethel, or you meet someone at an assembly or something like that. It's not always that easy for everyone, but for some people, it's very easy because you got sisters that are kind of after them. So you guys let me know what you think about that. As far as, you know, a Bethel elder who's an elder in his congregation, elder at Bethel, has a interesting job at Bethel, has a wife at Bethel, had his pick, so she's probably gorgeous. And because I mean, I've seen so many sisters there at Bethel that were extremely attractive. Matter of fact, where I worked, it was a truck dock, shipping and receiving. It was a truck dock. So there were worldly guys driving trucks for different companies like Pepsi or whatever. The point being, when they would come and talk to us, they're like, "What is this place? You know, is this some kind of a school or something? What is this place?" And oftentimes, you know, they would mention, "You guys have got some really attractive sisters here, because you got Native American sisters, you got Japanese sisters, you got all kinds of sisters from the Philippines, you got sisters from all over marrying these Bethelites." I remember sitting next to a sister in the Bethel Family Watchtower study. She had the moccasins. What do you call that? Those shoes that Native American people wear? Is it moccasins or something like that? I don't know what it was, but she was Native American. Had the Native American dress, the moccasin shoes, and everything. I mean, you got women from all over the globe there at Bethel. So for guys that are at Bethel and married, there's no excuse. There's no excuse to be flirting and doing all kinds of all that stuff. It's no excuse. And then it's like, well, how do you can't, when your family calls or you call your family, these are things you can't tell them this stuff. You can't tell them that people that you watch on the program during morning worship that are Bethel elders that you look up to, you notice them flirting with 3 sisters after lunch. On your way walking back to your assignment, you see them flirting with these sisters that come to visit Bethel. Young sisters. I mean, these would be older guys. Guys upper 40s, close to 50, and they're flirting with these younger sisters, early 20s, that came to visit Bethel. There was a brother, while we're on this topic of age, there is a brother, and oh man, it's like I don't want to say his name because I don't want to, I'm trying not to be a total whistleblower here, but there's a brother that was in our congregation. He wasn't at Walk Hill, he served at Patterson. His wife was 19 years old. This man was in his upper 40s. And his wife was 19. She looked like his daughter. How does stuff like that happen? Morally, I should say. We're Christians, right? Morally, how does stuff like this happen? Where basically you got men taking advantage of the fact that they are sister's ticket to Bethel, where you got guys that are there that are 40 some odd years old, and they're like, well, I'm going to marry me a 19-year-old because I can, you know. And it didn't look like they had a thing in common. I mean, I saw them all the time. They were in my congregation. It didn't look like the two of them had a thing in common. Not a thing. So here I am at Bethel, and you know, you're trying to deal with all of this, and your conscience is killing you, and there's something in the back of your mind telling you something's not right. Something's not right, but you don't know what, because it's a big jump to go from, man, something's just not right here with what I'm seeing. And here we are at Bethel, and these are Bethel elders, and you're doing all this, you know. It's a big jump going from, okay, I feel like something's not right here, to the organization is false. Because at the time, I didn't know that. I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. Obviously, there was something not right because of the things that were going on. But you end up just praying about it, thinking that Jehovah's going to work it out somehow. Somehow Jehovah's going to get rid of these people that are doing this stuff and bring in new people that are going to follow Bible principles. It's almost like some kind of mental defense mechanism, or I don't know if you could call it blind faith, where you just figure you're not going to look at reality. You're looking at, well, something's got to happen to change reality because it can't stay the way it is, which it does stay the way it is. It's probably still the same way right now. Probably the same brothers meeting sisters on the same tour route. You know what I mean? And really, you know, the whole thing, just, there's no way that's Jehovah's organization. There's just no way that that's Jehovah's organization. And it should be obvious when you got a 40-plus-year-old men, because there wasn't only one that had a young wife. You got 40-plus-year-old men marrying 19-year-olds and things like that. And you got married men flirting with these sisters that go on a tour route, because, of course, they know the route. They know to walk through this route during certain times and just look through all the tours. And when you see an attractive sister, they would talk to them. When you see things like that, it should let you know this is not Jehovah's organization. But I don't know what it is where you see something and it still doesn't trigger. For me at least, you still think Jehovah is going to fix it. You separate the organization from Jehovah, I think, when you see things like that. And you start to think, well, Jehovah is going to somehow fix this situation. He sees it, he knows what's going on, and he's going to do something to these people. And of course, that didn't happen. They just had the layoffs and just got rid of a bunch of people, you know. Just more corporate type things that you can do to people, and they just did it. Regardless of whether it was Christian or not. Christian love played no factor. So that's it for right now. You guys let me know what you think about those things in the comment section. This is X Walk Hill Bethelite signing out.